once a year during the late summer month, around the last 2 weeks of August, something truly magical happens to the fields of northern Germany, where I live nearby. And that's when the so-called heather blossom takes place. When that happens, billions of small heather plants turn the fields into a purple ocean. You could almost compare it to the lavender bloom in southern France, which many of you are probably way more familiar with than the heather blossom in Germany. For most of the year, these plants, they look rather grey and unremarkable, but during these 3 weeks approximately, they shine in a vibrant purple color and they look especially beautiful during the sunrise and sunset. And today I'm going to try to capture that beauty in my photos, and I want to take you along with me, so stay tuned and let's go. Hello my friends and good morning. We've just arrived and I'm hiking up to a viewpoint called the Death Ground, which hopefully gives us a beautiful view over the heather fields, which are currently in its most beautiful, purple state. And the sunrise is absolutely beautiful. We have no clouds currently and not a lot of, this morning fog and haze basically. So we will have to see how beautiful it really gets, but I believe it's going to be great, so let's hike on now and see what we can do. So as you might have noticed, I decided to photograph the heather fields at sunrise this year. One big advantage of that is that there aren't nearly as many people around as during sunset, for example, but more on that in a moment. The downside, however, is that I had to get up extremely early this morning. The drive from where I live to these fields takes a little over an hour, but the real challenge is that the parking area is about 3 to 4 miles away from the viewpoint where I wanted to shoot. So that meant that I had to walk for a little over an hour as well to get to this viewpoint, and I really had to rush, and I just barely made it in time for sunrise. And now I'm just hoping that the sunrise turns out to be beautiful this morning and that we will see a lot of fog and a lot of haze over the fields, which is especially present during sunrise and not so much during sunset. So let's see how this goes. So we have sunrise coming up in a couple of minutes and the view here is beautiful. However, there are a lot of other people and especially other photographers there, which is to be expected and not a big problem. However, I always like the spots that are not so famous because, we have this like single viewpoint there and everyone takes the same shot, and this is not my ambition, honestly, to take the same shot as everybody else. So I'm walking around now here and taking a look around and see if I can find some different locations and some different spots where I might take some different angles of this beautiful scene. So let's go. So I just want to quickly mention here that this is basically the perfect example why I love drones so much. As I just stated, there are people basically on every famous spot and the viewpoints are very limited, and you always get the same pictures, everyone gets the same, and this is the reason, as I said, why I love drones so much. As you can see, I flew this thing up and I have an amazing view. I have beautiful fog and haze over the heather fields and it looks absolutely amazing. You can see it right here and I'm taking photos and videos right now. I absolutely love it. So let's go on now and I will talk to you really, really soon. Alright, so the sun started to come up now. The sunrise was around half an hour ago. As you've seen, I let the drone fly. The views were absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved it. And now I'm just hiking around a little bit here and trying to find compositions and locations, for that matter, that are not so much visited. And
to be honest, I'm pretty happy, because the only place where there were a lot of people and a lot of other photographers were this viewpoint itself, but there's quite a lot of variation when you look left and right and you hike on the path. So this is pretty cool, and I enjoy that much more than, you know, just standing in a line with like 10 other photographers and all taking the same picture. Nonetheless, I don't want to complain about that, because this heather blossom, you know, these small flowers, they just bloom for around 2 weeks every single year. So the time frame where you can go and photograph them, it is very limited. So it is to be expected that a lot of people want to take pictures of that, and this is the reason why it's so full, I believe. And nonetheless, I enjoy it much more when I am alone. And I am alone right now at this spot here, and I just want to hike on and see what I can do and what I can find. So I cannot state this enough that I like the sunrise more than the sunset. And this is not just because of things like, for example, the morning haze over landscapes, over fields, but also because of the light itself. I mean, technically speaking, it is the same as during sunset. However, I feel like it got a different atmosphere to it. Especially if you hike somewhere in the dark and then the sun starts to come up. I always love it, it's amazing. So definitely can recommend this. So I'm currently heading back already. It's only around 7:30 a.m. However, the sun has already got up pretty far and pretty fast. It's still pretty beautiful, and I want to take more pictures now. And then I have to see, because as I said, it's still pretty early. However, when the sun is up too far, you know, this beautiful purple colors in these small flowers, they tend to look a little bit grayish when the sunlight comes from directly above, for example. So the most beautiful time of the day for taking pictures of the heather blossom, it is definitely the morning and the afternoon and evening hours. But we will have to see. I go on now, and maybe we will find some more beautiful spots and locations. And I have a few more options where I could go, where it is supposed to be pretty beautiful, but I have to see, as I said, if it's still worth it when the sun is higher up in the sky. So I just met a fellow photographer and we walked around a couple of hours, honestly, and took some photos together, which was honestly pretty cool. Really nice guy, honestly. And now I'm heading on. It is already like 10 a.m. So the morning hours are over. We have pretty harsh light now, and this is the reason, why it gets more difficult to find nice compositions, honestly. But I still want to go around and, just look for beautiful compositions, and maybe also look for spots where I can go during sunset or sunrise when I am here again, which is also honestly a pretty good idea to always take a look around and do a little bit of scouting. So when you come to a location, for example, for sunset, you most likely will not have a lot of time to search for compositions. So it's good to already know the place, and this is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm heading on now and see what I can do. So honestly, one thing that I will not understand is why all these places are called something so evil. Like for example, this one behind me is, as previously mentioned, called Death Ground, in Germany Totengrund. And like for example, you remember maybe a video from a couple of months ago where I visited the Devil's Wall, which were in a different part of Germany. Nonetheless, all these places are called something, yeah, dangerous or something bad, and yeah, something spooky, and I honestly don't know why. Maybe I will find out someday. So it's time for me now to head back to the car, and I believe I go home now again, because you know the walk to the car takes approximately 50 minutes. It's around 3 miles to get there, because the nearest parking lot here is blocked. You cannot drive there, it's forbidden, so I have to walk a little bit further than that. However, the sunlight is pretty harsh. You know, we approach the midday sun now, and the problem with that is we have zero clouds today. It's perfectly blue sky, which is nice, but not for photography. So I think we will call it a day, but I will call you back later when I am back at home, and then we will see.
I then decided to visit one more spot where I can take a look at these heather fields, and although it was already the midday, it was still quite enjoyable. And honestly, one pretty cool thing if you get up so early is that your day is really long. So I started taking pictures that day at around 5:30 a.m. and now it's like 1 p.m. So I had a solid 6 hours of photography there, which is honestly pretty cool. But at this point, as stated, the sunlight was really harsh, so I more or less, you know, just enjoyed nature for myself, took a few shots, and then it was time to drive home. And I hope you liked the pictures, I hope you liked the video as well. I have a ton of other photography related content over on my YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out as well. But for now, I wish you a great day and I wish you a great weekend. I hope I see you in next week's video, so see you.